Ladies and gentlemen, and anyone else, whatever you identify as, whatever you call yourself, whatever you want to be, you can be that here. It is the AZ Squared Equals podcast. This is the first show of the new year. Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, people.
Yeah. It's another one, 2022. Can you believe it?
I cannot at all. 2021 was a flash. It
really was.
It really flashed by.
It came and went.
Let me ask you this. Was 2021 better than 2020? Because a lot of people, it's going to depend on your own experience.
Yeah,
but
that's
I've
relative.
seen a lot of people that were like, oh, I thought 2020 couldn't get any worse, and then 2021 happened.
Nah.
And then I seen people
In
that were like,
retrospect,
2021 was the best year of my life. I got so much done. I started a new career. Blah, blah, blah. So, where are you guys at? And how are you feeling about coming into the year 2022 of our Lord?
I've done better. Personal wise. Business wise, I think I'm doing great. Personal wise, I got to sue the government. But that's about it. Other than that, it seems to be good. And they're starting to hit me up on about some waiver or some shit about that whole 30 grand. It's all confusing because they're telling me to fucking I just got a letter last night from the state saying to reapply for PUA benefits. The same thing that they're telling me that I owe them $34,000 for.
I just got the same letter you got. This is 20, and then I got the same PUL letter as is to reapply, and I was like,
The hell?
Did
so
you get a
wanna
waiver thing
fuck
too?
me over?
Yeah.
But you also want me to continue to try to get more
to get fucked over. And that's when I sent a letter to her. I was just like, y'all are the psychos.
Yeah, you're good at the scamming shit. If you're trying to scam people for money,
You
by
fucking
giving
up.
them money first, you're gonna lose that game with me because you're just gonna end up giving away money.
Yeah, because I have nothing to give you. I was like, because of what you guys have done, I've lost a bank account. I've lost fucking my phone. A bunch of shit because they kept trying to draw shit out of my bank account.
We're black.
Is it? Oh, yeah, this camera. You can still hear us on audio though, right?
Yeah, we're good on audio.
Sir.
There we go.
Hey, we're back.
I gotta figure out this M50's fucking black screen thing. I don't understand
The
it.
timeout thing. That's weird.
And we've turned off the timeout
Everything,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I'm gonna have to look up and do further research, but I don't know why that does that. But that's what that is.
Well, everybody out there is using M50s, man. Help us out. Get in the comments and let us know if you have issues with plugging the M50 in the OBS and it turning off or going to sleep during your shoot. You know, how have you solved that? Help us
Yeah,
out.
once you've turned off the sleep mode.
Is it still actually recording the video, or is what you're seeing, the black
Nope.
screen,
Which
that's
is
actually
what you
what's
get.
getting recorded? Does
That's
it
what-
stop recording altogether, or
No,
does
it doesn't.
It just records a black screen.
It's
It
just
just-
recording a black screen.
Black screen, yeah.
Because
Audio's
it's
still
running
there.
through OBS, and
Right.
OBS is the hub, right? So it's recording what OBS is seeing through that camera. That camera shuts off, goes black screen. So,
So
we're
OBS
recording
is
black
showing
screen.
you that
Yeah.
blackness.
Yeah.
And we're just,
Interesting.
but the audio's coming through, so even when it goes black screen, they're able to hear the audio. But if I'm not looking at the screen, I don't know that it went black.
Yeah,
And
I'm
it
excited
goes
for
so random.
2022. 2020. I had an amazing 2020 with the whole COVID year and everything shut down. It was pretty much beautiful for
Yeah,
me.
I
I
think
got a lot
2020
of,
was my better year.
yeah, 2020 was my better year as far as just me being able to kick it and relax.
Yeah.
I was, for whatever reason, full of money and
Yeah.
nothing but time. That's the first ever experience of that in my life.
Yeah.
So 2021 came, and now it's time to work again, and things have been okay. Things have been good.
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
can't
just
complain.
been really the only things that have been an issue are the things that COVID has caused issues with.
Exactly.
Like-
Now it's the residuals of the COVID year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of all the things, all
So-
these mandates that have been tossed out, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, since we told you to do this, now you're gonna pay for that." It's like, hold up, that wasn't part of the agreement from the jump. No one said nothing about a consequence.
But 22 and 22 excites me. I'm excited
Yeah.
for it.
Same here.
I think it's definitely going to be more work than the last 2 years, the last
sure.
2021 and 2020. Combined, it'll probably be about double the work.
That's
But
what I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping that it's a year that pushes me forward.
Absolutely.
In the
Yeah,
race.
I'm hoping that it's the last year that I go, I'm broke, ever again. That's my resolution, is
Yeah.
to not ever say I'm broke again.
Well, that's a great segue, because my next question was going to be, are you guys New Year's resolution guys?
Yes,
So
and
I just had this argument with not argument, but I just had this debate or conversation with someone, and no, we don't need a calendar year to say I'm gonna be a better person.
Right.
Like no, like,
And that's
but,
the argument, you know.
Yeah, but if you are going to measure, why not measure on day one? If you're
Right.
if you're gonna do it and measure, why not like keep time and keep track? I think trying to avoid a New Year's resolution is just trying to avoid accountability. You don't want to be tied to something and be able to measure it from this year to this year and be able to look
100%.
back and say I started here and I ended here and this is what my thing was for this period of time.
yeah, you don't
Right.
want to be able to go and say I failed.
Exactly.
You
exactly.
can't handle failing.
Yeah.
Even though, like Will Smith said it the best, fail often, fail forward. I think there was something else to it. I forgot it, but I know it's fail
the saying,
forward
though.
and fail
It's a
often.
bunch of failing. Yeah.
So he's like, and you learn from those failures as long as they're not mistakes till you continue to make it.
Yeah.
And so you don't know shit till you know shit. Then
Yeah,
you
I
know
guess
the
I'm not
shit.
huge on resolutions to answer the question, but I definitely think you should be trying at every new point, a new beginning point. You should reevaluate yourself and reevaluate your goals.
I try
It's a
to
good
do
habit,
it
for
every
sure.
first of the month.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like I think of it.
New month resolution.
New month,
Yeah,
exactly.
like
New
every
month, new
day I
me.
think of the same thing. Like I don't allow the first of the year to be like, oh, I can build up all this shit and then I'll fix it on the 1st. Like people try to put resolutions as more like what you're saying is like I'm just looking to forward myself. Like if I gain something, knowledge or skill or something by the end of the year, and that I can put forth trying to better the next year and make something for me or make it worth the time that I've spent on it.
I kind of fall into the camp of like I have a hard time with like making a New Year's resolution. I've never done it like traditionally. I've never gone into a new year and actually verbally been like, okay, my resolution is to do this and I'm gonna try to stick to it. That's just I've never been that guy, I guess, but I try to sort of, piggybacking off what both of you were saying, I try to look at like not so much what I want to do this next year or like a resolution for this next year, but more like, hey, let's take a look back at January 1st of 2020 or January 1st of 2021 and see like try to mentally take stock of like what have I done this year? What have I like learned? What have I accomplished? What have I in what areas of my life have things moved like at a progressive pace? And then that sort of leads you naturally to like, okay, well, what have I not done better, or what have I not pushed myself in or tried to move forward in? So like for me, it's more of a time of like reflection and like trying to appreciate like self-esteem and self-appreciation of like, hey, I did a lot of shit this year. I went to a lot of places for work. I learned a lot of new shit. I met new people. I created new relationships. I had, I pursued different avenues of income or like side hustle, whatever. Like, as that's what New Year's is all about to me. It's almost instead of the New Year resolution, it's like just take a look back at last year and give yourself some credit. Pat yourself on the back. Like, hey, if nothing else, man, even if you floated through the whole year, it's a net neutral. Like, hey, you're here now. You can,
so
you can go do whatever you
reflection.
want.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Like,
it's
take a
good.
look
It's
at
good
it,
to reflect upon, like, and I guess that's kind of what we're saying too. Is like you reflect upon the things that you've learned over the year and how to push those forward into the next year and make them more than just a learning thing. Now they're part of your arsenal, like your tool belt, having your bat belt.
That's a good way to look at it. Your arsenal.
So now I have this skill or this new knowledge that I can put to it.
Weaponize your talents.
I mean, that's all knowledge is a weapon,
success.
right? Like, those
Or
are
a
the people
tool,
that.
depending on how you look at it, but
Yeah, well, most tools are weapons if you look at it.
right?
Yeah,
Or if you swing them hard enough.
exactly.
There's a joke within like the electrician community, and it's that literally anything can be a hammer if you swing it at a nail.
Yep.
That's sort of the phrase. And it's so true because like I look at all my tools. I don't have a hammer that I bring to work. Like if I'm rolling somewhere and I got the work
What's
truck,
gonna make the best hammer?
yeah, dude. You look at my tools and you can tell like, oh yeah, this has been used as a hammer many times. But I mean, to your point, yeah, if you got it, sort of plays into the reflection and perspective. But like if you're looking at something the right way, like you can spin things to be a positive. Like, hey man, COVID really fucked up a lot of shit. and it disrupted my life, and it disrupted my work schedule or the amount of work I had or whatever. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, it still leaves for those who like are there to take it and are sort of trying to be conscious of it. Like, it leaves a lot of room for opportunity, and like, hey, instead of just going on cruise control and waiting to figure out what happens, I'm just gonna kind of decide what happens by saying, hey, here, I'm gonna go try this,
right?
Or I'm gonna pursue this, or I'm gonna go, you know.
Which is difficult for somebody like me, to be 100% honest, because I cruise control easily.
Oh, it's the easiest thing to do. It's
like,
the path of least resistance.
See, I feel like I watch other people and that they don't have the same cruise control that I got, because I can I'll forget who the fuck I am. Like, the last 5 days trapped in this snow fucking Mageddon that we have going on right now in the Great Northwest, I get up, I start wondering, like, what is purpose? What am I doing? Why am I even alive right now? Like, am I really existing? Is this even life? Am I fucking just a simulation that's now starting to ponder its own simulation? Like, I get into some weird shit like that.
It's like some stir crazy, like.
I get into weird shit, like, because I spent so much time
being
staring
inside
at
for 2
walls.
years to do that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Right? Yeah, like he does. I spent a lot of time just sitting staring at walls, and so I get back into that, just like life, letting the world just fall on the sides of me and shit.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do.
Yeah, I went to jail for a long time. Like, I know what it's like. Like, you ever thought of everything you could think of? Like, it's some deep shit.
It's some real deep shit.
Yeah. Especially when you got nothing else to do.
Yeah, when you got nothing else to do,
there
man, you think and you just left with your own thoughts. Like,
oh my god, my
you
PlayStation.
can go to some places. Fuck.
My PlayStation doesn't have the PlayStation Plus anymore, so I don't have online multiplayer on games right now.
You're on an island out there with
And my fucking phone and shit.
else.
Like, yes. I did a fuck ton of editing. But my little laptop likes to fuck around.
Oh, yeah.
It really likes to fuck around. Like, I exported one video 5 times, and every time it came out, like, wavy. Like, everything was all, like, you couldn't see the video. It was just like, it looked like an interference pattern. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on here. And then figured that out somehow, got it to work. But I spent 4 hours figuring that out and going, why is this happening? I don't know. And then you get into that whole thought process, and then when you have, like, you're not bouncing ideas off anybody, you don't have a thing to break your mind away from. I start going down a fucking hole.
Then by tomorrow, you're a fucking master laptop you builder.
Right? Like, you figured all this other shit.
Yeah. And like, you're like, now I have all this useless information about how laptops work.
Right.
And I don't know what to do with it now, because I've completed the mission that I was trying to get done.
That you were on now, and you were only doing it to do something else that you were trying to be a master in, which is like the close thing in the business.
So it pulls you away from that thing.
Exactly.
You know, it's kind of cool about, like, man, especially, I'm the same type of way with, like, if something goes wrong, something breaks, or, like, car problems, whatever, just, like, Google the shit out of it.
Yeah, you dive into
everything, like, because if I can fix it myself, I'm going to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I don't have anything or anyone else to do it. Like, I can't call somebody and be like, hey, I got this problem, I need it fixed.
And typically when you do, you have a very specific problem. And because you've already looked into it, you know more about it already than the person you're asking.
And that's why I feel bad hitting people up. I'm like, I've already probably done the research, and then they're going to have to go into deeper research, and I just got done with the little bit I did. I know that ain't something that I want to do.
You just went through that with the camera when you took, like, and they're trying to tell you it's this with the camera. You're like, no, it's this.
Yeah. I
forgot
all about that.
Yeah. It happened to me with my Mercedes when they're trying to tell me, oh, it's the starter. It's the starter. I'm like, no, it's the ESL.
Like, I fucking looked
into this already. I know you don't care as much as I do. So
and you see his fucking, like, all the YouTube videos and stuff that he'd been watching. I'm like, holy fuck. You go, how do you watch that much shit in that short amount of time? What time warp did you go through?
Dude, it's like, because that's all you do when you get dived into something.
You just massively, and
me,
you were
like,
100% right on it. That was the craziest part.
I don't know about you guys, but, like, when I'm looking shit up like that, I end up on a lot of forums.
Yep, same here.
It's, to me, like, I'm always, like, reading through and, like, sort of in the back of my mind thinking, like, damn, dude, how crazy is it that, like, I'm just, like, from a completely different place and time, I'm looking at this conversation between these two people. I have no idea who they are. 2 other humans, some random place on the planet, and I'm over here like 7 years later, and I can tell because it says when
It
this
says when
conversation
it was
happened.
posted, yeah.
And I'm like looking at this shit from the future, just like, oh, okay, all right, sick, dope. I know all that shit now.
It's pretty.
wild, man.
That actually brings me to something that I wanted to like. I wanted to bring this up earlier in the conversation, but it really didn't even make sense to because we weren't talking about it. It's funny that you just went there with it, and I was just thinking like, we are the first generation that gets to record ourselves in mass. Not like people couldn't write books about themselves or write notes or diaries. All that shit existed, but in HD. Yeah. In HD, we're the first generation where, like, in 100 years, our grandkids or great grandkids should be able to look back like, oh, I had relatives from that time period where everyone was recording themselves and doing stupid dances on film or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like my great grandpa probably has one of those TikTok things that I heard about from history. And like, you know, like, and they'll go look and look for those, and they'll exist, you know, like, and they will exist.
You just pop up.
Like,
think about the shit.
That's crazy that they'll be able to do that. Like, in HD, we can't go and look at our great grandparents in HD.
No.
Not even in color. We can't even do it in color if we have photos of them. Because back in the day, you had to be someone to have your photo taken.
We had that discussion the other day, like about the fact of like all the photos you see from 200 years ago, like they had to be important people. It wasn't, or you knew somebody that happened to have a fucking camera and was trying to learn camera shit. So one random family might get a picture out of
because
hundreds of thousands of people.
Place, because you passed up a photographer. Like there was no like.
It was a fucking crapshoot. It was a luck of the draw. And, like, you had to have that stone-cold face because of the way cameras worked back in that day. Like, you couldn't see people smile from that era.
I was just yesterday, I was going on a YouTube rabbit hole into Pawn Stars, the TV show. Dude, that shit is so, like, entertaining. And I know that it's, like, mostly staged. And I know that it's
still
like,
entertaining
as
fuck.
But it's entertaining as fuck.
I still watch them.
They're, at the very least, I can positively say they're real people bringing in their real possessions. Sometimes... certain things are staged, and typically the deal has been done before ever filming. Like it's all absolutely, you know, right? But that show is so fascinating. And to what you guys were talking about, there was a lady that brought in like a really old picture from like the 1830s or something, and it was a dude, and he thought that it was a picture of Abraham Lincoln and his wife, and it would have been like the first or only known photograph of Abraham Lincoln and his wife in the same picture. And so it was
would have been fucking nuts.
In theory,
you want to not be in a pawn shop with that shit.
No, like you need to be in a museum.
So
you're at the wrong place.
They bring the expert in, and then the expert is all talking about like, this is definitely a period photo, but using facial recognition, like new facial recognition software on her iPad. She was cross-referencing like the two photos and putting them on top of each other, and it's like, you can see the noses are different, the cheeks are different, whatever. They look like the people, but this is not Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And the guy was like all freaking out and like telling the expert that he's an expert.
He's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you dumb bitch. This is a priceless artifact.
And she was like, it struck me because she was so professional about it, and she's just like, well, it is my opinion that this is not them using the technology at my disposal. And he's just like, you're gonna regret this. And he's like, everyone's gonna know my name in 10 years because I'm gonna sell this for $1 billion or some dumb shit like that.
People only are gonna know his name because he was that guy on Pawn Stars. He freaked out at the expert
with the almost Abraham Lincoln photo.
Dude, and it was nuts. But I mean, I just wonder, like how, I mean, we've gotten to not only experience, but we can still like physically every day look back via the internet on like the birth of all these forums, and like we can see for the first time live snapshots or photos, if you will, of conversations that real people had at a definitive point in time. And like from here on out, basically all of that is going to be documented.
It's gonna be there.
And that web just goes bigger and bigger and further out. But it can never grow any further
than
down,
that.
you know?
It can't go back any further.
So eventually, all these things that we're experiencing day to day, all these like all the forums that we go read for information, like that's going to be part of like such an infinitesimally small.
It gets smaller of all of it.
Like it's all internet history. Every day we make internet history when we go online and when we contribute via forums or any other way, and especially forums where you can actually give objectively helpful advice, and you can help someone out in the future without even knowing it, dude. You're like, I use Reddit a good amount and post on like the music forums and like guitar and Logic Pro.
I try to be a part of a forum. Every time I have a problem with anything, I go and I'm looking in the forums, but I try to contribute something.
Yeah.
It's like just for that purpose, like just so someone else later on down the line can see my input on it and say, oh yeah, my situation is more like that than the other two situations, because like there's always slight minute differences or whatever, and just for it to be there, I go and contribute just so that it's there.
God, I feel like a piece of shit now.
Well, you just lurk on the internet.
You just lurk against
I don't even
information.
really go into the forums much unless I absolutely have to, because reading and learning something for me, almost impossible.
Yeah.
So, like, if it can't be found on YouTube or a video on Google or a video in a forum of somebody, like, posting
But
a video of
technically,
it,
you could argue that YouTube is just a bunch of video forums. Like,
exactly.
there, at least some subsection of it would be video forums where people are having these problems. And
But I feel bad that, like, all the stuff that I've learned about Pro Tools that I've read off of the Avid forums and shit, because there's no other place to get it.
Yeah.
And I've never once put any information
Contributed
on it.
whatsoever,
Not one
yeah.
time.
Well,
now
I
I
mean,
feel like,
hey,
because I never thought
Because you
about
never
it like
thought-
that.
Yeah, it's new thought.
That's the first time that's even been considered to me. Like,
But see, you're talking about 9 years ago. That's what you're forgetting. It's 9 years ago. We're talking about today referencing information from 9 years ago.
yeah, I should have.
This thought process didn't exist 9 years ago because we weren't thinking that it would be in 10 years. People looking back on it.
To where it's actually like, this is where you get your knowledge.
Yeah,
You don't go to the library, you
in
go
the
to
moment,
fucking
you just
Reddit.
go like, holy shit, I found someone else who has the same problem, and you're
And they
in that
may have
time
figured something
working
out.
it out. You're talking with that person.
Well, yeah, and you end up scrolling through dozens and dozens of like random conversations. Like for example, like your car won't start. Okay, if you Google why doesn't my car start, there's all these reasons that are like, oh, you're out of gas, or your battery is dead, or your whatever. And so when it's like, okay, well, I know it's not one of those, Google. Like I need
specific shit.
specifically, like I'm talking about my 2003 Honda Accord.
Exactly. It goes
My
to the
EC
long tail.
Like my ECU is like throwing a code, and I know that it's not real because I've checked with the sense, like all this shit.
Yeah.
And then you
Google
find
can't
people that
answer
are,
all those questions. That's
Right.
one thing it lacks is the follow-up questions.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Plus-
Once somebody invents the AI that does the follow-up search, like
and brings you
it
everything.
brings you deeper and deeper into the long tail.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the end of it.
That's the best part to me, is that you can get so like hyper specific on what you're trying to find and like what you're trying to figure out.
Yeah, because someone else, you gotta imagine that one other person has had this exact issue. It's just a question of whether or not they use the internet, and that answer is getting more and more resoundingly yes.
See, and I didn't think about the fact that you can get a deeper detail, because that's the only way you get any real Avid information on like
Yeah.
the back end stuff.
Exactly.
That's why you have to go to the forum.
Yep, exactly.
I didn't even think of that process, like in my mind. That's just where I go to get it, because that's where, when I Google the shit, that's where I end up finding the thing that gave me the answer.
Yeah, I mean, if you've had car problems in the like, if you are in your around the age of 30 in anywhere on 5 years on either side, and in the last 10 years you've had car problems, and you are the type to actually try to work on your car, you've been in a forum. Like, I'm going to guarantee you've been in a forum. Like,
I don't know. That's crazy too, because I don't know a guy that is a mechanic that isn't in some kind of mechanic forum. Now that you say it, like, I'm thinking of every person I know that does mechanic shit. That,
like,
claims
because you've had
be
to look
mechanic.
shit up for your specific
That's
car, and
insane.
no other generalized website is going to do it.
Well,
You know
plus
what?
it's dope because like say hey, my car doesn't start, it's giving me code P201, and I know that it's not a head gasket because I can tell, like, I'm not leaking fluids or
leaking,
anything.
there's no
You
smoke.
can type that in instead of going and paying like $500
To
for
a
2 hours
mechanic,
of 2 man hours of labor at a mechanic, and then
Just
telling you,
tell you.
and give you
Diagnostic
a
fee.
laundry list of all
Yeah.
the shit that they're gonna charge you to fix.
Possibilities.
You can get
And shit that they didn't even ask you for, like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
you need
Well, it has
rotator
nothing to
springs,
do with any
I
of
didn't
this
ask you to
shit.
look at my fucking rotator springs. So fuck it.
That's in the complete opposite end of the motherfucking car that I'm looking for. Like, you need back rear brakes. Like,
Okay, shut up.
How are you looking at my back rear brakes?
Too. That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's not what I'm here
You're
for.
supposed to be in the engine, my guy. I don't know why you're looking at
my
my brakes.
toilet's clogged, so fuck you. Like,
You're trying to know all my problems.
yeah, the fuck, yeah. I got issues. That's not what I actually look into, bro. Changing my fucking oil.
Well, that's absolutely hilarious. Even getting a suspension. The last time I tried to have someone check and rotate my tires and shit, they ended up checking some shit in my engine and shit. I'm like, why did you lift the hood?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
What you lift my head for, bro?
I'm like, I'm not paying for that, just so you know, because I didn't ask for that.
fucking diagnostic
That's
shit.
so far from what I was looking for you to look at.
Dude, having the like wherewithal to fix your own car is a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing.
It really is, and I don't have it. I've gotten too lucky with too many mechanics. I know enough to, like, if I really needed to, I could figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm confident enough with that. Like, it only goes together one way, right?
That's true.
Like, that's how I think of anything mechanical. Like, unless it has the ability to be a multi-purpose thing and put together in multiple ways, most things go together one way correctly. And if you get it correct, then you've done it. You've put it together the one way.
It works again.
But you could probably figure out all of the wrong ways until you get the one way. Like, depending on what it is. Like, if it's like a gas line or something, you probably want to know what the fuck you're doing with that shit, so you're not...
There's definitely varying levels of, like, complexity with the self
Yeah.
hardware stuff. You have to know the line. You have to know where it's like, okay, man, I can't change a head gasket. Like, you need a CNC machine, and, like, this is like, yeah, okay, I'll pay someone $3,000, blah, blah, blah.
To fucking
Shit
mill the
sucks,
heads
but
and
it's
shit.
But so this is what I will say for that. Like I'm definitely not a mechanic at all, but I've had so many problems with, say, like my blue Ford Taurus. Remember that? I had so many problems with that car. There's not much you can tell me about that car that I don't know.
Because he doesn't take it to a mechanic because he fixed it himself.
Yeah, I had to fix it myself. So. And then
I remember that.
Eventually,
that fucking car went through the shit.
It went through the shit, and I had to damn near rebuild it from like the
ground
top
up,
end.
basically.
I had to rebuild the top end like twice. So, I from the top up, I knew that car. Like I pretty much was a mechanic.
Wasn't it rolling on like the spare little tire thing for a while?
Yeah,
Didn't you have like two of those on the back
I
of
had two
them?
fucking spares. It was rolling on two spares for a hot minute.
Second.
For a hot minute.
That's when
at
I was
least
like, somebody
4
was like
months.
75
4
miles
months.
on those things.
Yeah, 4 months.
Somebody
On
said
two
75
donuts.
miles.
It
I was
was
like
a
75
fucking
miles
mess.
my ass. My bro been driving 300, like
Yeah.
3-4 months on
I've
that
been
shit. He's
getting
got
it on
more
two
than
donuts.
hundreds of miles.
But yeah, it got to the point where like the head gasket blew, and I was like, "Fuck! I gotta take it all apart now." And then I just got sick of it, which is why I stopped. Why I ended up just getting it towed away. But
After doing it every
because then I
month.
had a little bit of money, and it wasn't worth the time to put into it. But
Yeah, it's like effort or no more effort.
it ended up just being like, something at the very, very top, like goes wrong, and so you're at that first layer, and then something goes wrong slightly under it, and you're like, well, I've done this before, maybe I can just, and then you figure, I'm like, okay, well, now I'm here, boom, but then another layer goes wrong, and I just gradually got more and more familiar with the car, and everything above where I was, I just got quicker and quicker at, to the point where you would think I was a master fucking mechanic, and no, I just mastered that fucking car.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Dude, the most stressful mechanic situations I've ever been in were like when I didn't make enough money to have my car at a mechanic, or rather I didn't save enough money to take my car to a mechanic when it was broken, and B, I gotta go to fucking work in the morning. And if I'm not there, I'm not gonna have a job anymore.
So you
and then I can't fix this.
And
Period.
so,
Even
like,
on my own.
I had a handful of late nights where it's like I literally can't stop working on this thing until it drives. Once it drives, I'll go upstairs, I'll go to bed, and I'll wake up in 3 hours.
That's usually the situation. Like you have to.
I gotta get this thing running.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. Yeah,
That's-
the necessity.
that's
So
literally-
whatever's wrong with it, you're gonna figure out.
Yeah.
Because you gotta get to work tomorrow.
It's like it's not dripping anything, so I know I don't have like any like leaks or failures like that anywhere. Something it's something small. It's a sensor. It's something. Like,
See, that's the problem with all the cars I've ever owned, is that they drive with stuff broken.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find what else is broken. Because, like, where you're like, oh, it's not leaking anything. I'll be like, oh, it's leaking everything. But it still is driving why it was leaking everything. So what else could be wrong? And then I got to figure out and work my way through finding all these other problems to get to it. Like, fucking alternator. And where's the person that came up with the original idea? That's who came up with the first fix? Who's that guy? Because I want to know how to think like that. That's where I'm trying to get to. I want to be able to be like, look at a problem and figure it out without having to go to Google. I want to be able to think it all the way through myself and like figure out the possibilities. But you have to have so much knowledge to do that.
Yeah, just depending on
right?
what it is you're trying to fix or like work on. You know, if it's like taking apart a whole engine, that can get gnarly. But I mean,
like, I know an alternator, right? I know how it works because I've broken them. Multiple of them. I've gotten brand new ones that didn't work right out of the box and had to figure out that process. But I was able to find that knowledge somewhere else, you know, to find out that there was a problem.
Yeah.
I want to know how to know that when there's the problem. So, because, like, am I really learning the thing? Because now I know it, so I guess you've learned it. But how, if I didn't have access to any of that shit, because, like, without having a phone now, which is kind of liberating. I still have, like, Wi-Fi, but you have to make sure you're in specific spots. So there's, like, things I haven't had to think about in years. And it's kind of it's weird to go back to that same process I had when I was a teenager. Like, not having access to a phone. You had to get to a buddy's house and call somebody. You had to be at a specific area where you had, like, access to be able to get calls and receive and send. You know, like, it's kind of weird going back into that mentality and mind state right now. That's the only reason I haven't, like, gotten my phone fully back up and running is, like, I'm trying to figure out this mind state because it's put me in a weird thought process of, like, how important is it to have the phone if you have the internet access and you're still capable of getting connected with people? Like, is a phone really that important? Has the world gotten big enough now to where you can get internet access?
That's funny. I slightly had
most
that
places?
thought this morning. That's weird that you say that. I didn't. I was literally just having that thought. I was like, do I really actually need that calling, that basic
call feature like
anymore? Like, do I
need talk and text?
do I actually need that anymore? Like,
I have basically that with applications that are internet based.
I was like, applications that are internet based, not even actual regular text anymore. I think it's just the closest to you now. Like, that text is just the closest. We've privatized it, I guess. You know, so it's like that private line of communication. But
it's still its own separate thing.
It's still its own. Yeah, like I was like, I mean, you could get along. You could probably get along without it. And I would argue that once marketers start abusing the text marketing feature, it's gonna literally be everything else. Like, you know, it won't even matter. Like you literally won't feel any different about your text inbox than your Facebook inbox or your IG DMs.
Honestly, as of right now, my fucking Facebook inbox is my text.
Yeah.
That's where most people know how to get a hold of me, and if they don't get a hold of me there, then it's on Instagram. So I have these two ports of entry. And then Google Voice too. So like
WhatsApp anyway.
I haven't really thought about that, but like it's probably like 50-50 for me right now. Like, it's about half text, half Instagram DMs. Like,
see, like
that's how I talk to people.
Like, it's just like, and marketers are just starting to figure out to use text as a form of marketing. So that idea is still new. But if you think about it already, you already start to get reminders and text reminders from businesses that you do business with now, like probably reminding you to either, you know, I don't know, whatever. Like my hospital or doctors, they text me like random shit like that. But
maybe it says something to like
the gym text me or whatever. You know,
how small of like a text friend group that I have, but like I text you on the Instagram app, or Facebook, right? And so like that's one of my closest people that I talk to. I don't need to text them. So never text inbox. Same with you. It's Instagram or Instagram because you're not really on Facebook. I'm remembering that now. So I didn't have like a lot of people that were actually texting me anyway, and all that was coming in was fucking soliciting shit.
Yeah.
It was
There we
all
go.
what
See,
you're
that's
talking
my-
about.
that's
and I was
literally
like,
my point.
it's really a waste
That's
of my time to
literally my
have
point. Like,
the text messages because it's nothing important.
Once advertisers ruin text messaging for everybody, like they do with everything, like they literally ruin everything like that.
And it gave me
People
anxiety.
won't even text anymore. So I'm like, yeah, you probably don't even need call and text anymore. You just need the device as the small version of the internet, the mobile version of the internet. Yeah.
And there's mostly Wi-Fi. I found that if I'm out in like a city area, I can get pretty good Wi-Fi connection in most places. There's some spots like when I've had to walk from the flats, there was zero fucking Wi-Fi. It was not doing shit, so he's walking
barely get
home.
a fucking phone signal right there anyway. So.
Exactly, you're in a dead spot. So I was like, I'm walking home to go get the tools to come back and fix my car. Yeah. And that sucks. But I was walking from the city, and I thought that I didn't have Wi-Fi. Not until I got, like, maybe 4 blocks from my house, I looked at my phone. I'm like, oh, I got fucking full Wi-Fi bars. I don't know where I'm picking it up from, but that's right. There's a bunch of these places that have open Wi-Fi, so I'm just bouncing from fucking place to place. So if you're in a city, you're pretty good. Yeah. And, like, you have Google Voice, so you have phone call and text message. Like, it's so much bigger than I thought because we use a lot of that for client work.
I use it for all my businesses.
It's fucking brilliant. Like, you can see the people. You can get a word written out thing of their voice call, so you can read what they call you with, and not have to really like.
Yeah, I've had Google Voice.
If you missed the call,
I started young when I was rapping.
Yeah, back in the day.
That was when I first started using.
That's
Google
when I
Voice.
learned about it. Was when he was like, "You should try this Google Voice shit," and it was so confusing. It's so easy now, though. Mm-hmm. It's not. It was confusing as shit. I don't know how you learned it back in the day, but you learn everything when you need it. It's insane.
Yeah, it's because I needed it. So.
That's the thing. It's like I didn't even know it.
Really shitty UI back in the
day. It was just so. And I didn't.
Super clean in Google now, right?
Oh, it's so super clean. And also, it goes back to like I didn't know shit about computers back then either. Like I was so fucking new with shit. I was just learning. Like all I knew how to do on a computer and barely knew how to do that was Pro Tools. Yeah. That's it. That's all I needed a computer for. That's the whole reason I bought a laptop and learned computers. Is I was like, I'm gonna learn Pro Tools. And then Pro Tools fucked up so fucking much that back to the point of like you end up learning all this other shit, and then I became like somebody who can build a computer and fix computers.
Out of
like,
necessity. Yeah.
And I have a little bit of coding knowledge and a little bit of fucking like now I know how to run other programs and like CAD programs, 3D fucking renders and mesh.
A lot of like computer wherewithal.
It's opened up a whole fucking other thing like videography, photography, all of the shit that like I had no knowledge. And if you would ask me in high school, are you ever going to need to use a computer? I would have been like, no, I will never learn them. It's never going to happen for me. It's impossible for me to learn computers.
Think, at most, I'll get a job while I'm forced to do something on a computer, and then that'll be my knowledge of computers.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would you be able to convince that person that you be the one that could build them and program them if need be.
100%. I wouldn't believe
you
it.
would laugh and say, you don't know me.
Insane. Yeah, because I used to have this recurring thing that I would say to people like, no, I'm a hammer and chisel guy. Like, I'm not even to lead pencils yet. I'll make you something out of rock. Like, I'm still in the Stone Age. Like, that's how dumb I am when it comes to technology. Now I can run and produce podcasts. I can do all kinds of shit that I never thought I would ever do in high school. And it's been a short couple of years, and it all started from wanting to learn how to use Pro Tools. The computer and Pro Tools being such a fucked program.
But,
especially years ago.
You want to learn Pro Tools?
God.
You got to become a master computer engineer.
It got so bad that I got more into the computer shit than I did the fucking Pro Tools. I was like, well, this is just it's a ruined program. They do it on purpose. It's so you buy more shit. They do it on purpose. It's built in like manufacturer failure. You know, like you have to have a certain like they did with the it's like the light bulb. They have like a limit that the light bulb can last. Like you can't make a light bulb that's more efficient than this because then you beat out the competition. There was a thing back in when the first light bulbs were being mass produced that they like all the light bulb guys got together and made an accord, and the one guy who didn't ended up getting fucked up, so and losing his whole shit. So it's a whole cabal of, hey, we need to put in, a fail safe so people continue to buy our shit.
Yeah, because there's
Pro
no
Tools
reason
is
that light bulbs can't last forever.
Yeah,
Theoretically, yeah.
right, and Pro Tools is like, they took that to the oomph degree.
Yeah.
They said, all right, we'll just make it fuck up constantly.
So you always have to buy new shit.
Yeah.
You're going to have to update. You're going to have to buy new shit. Like, I can't even download from the Avid site my hard copy to download into my computer without it crashing and resetting my computer every single fucking time. I did put it onto an SD drive from my laptop because it didn't do it from there. So I'm wondering if I fucking beat the thing again.
Went around it.
Now it's just a game of beating Avid at their own game. Like, figuring out
Is
all
Avid
their holes.
Like the parent company? Or
Yeah, it used to be. It's always been Avid, huh?
DigiDesign.
Yeah, that's right. It was DigiDesign. That's what I thought.
Because that's
Yeah.
when I was big into computers and I was building computers. That's when you were first getting
Yeah.
into Pro Tools. I used to, when I was in college, I studied electrical engineering and audio production, because I wanted to go and work for DigiDesign, and I wanted to go and build a MIDI device for DigiDesign to sell with the Pro Tools program. And that was my dream when I was in college, my like plan for my senior school project or whatever yearly project that they have to do in electrical engineering school was I made a beat machine, but it was only a start to the machine that I actually wanted to build, which would have had keys and a bunch of different samplers and shit like that or whatever. But that's what I wanted to do, because that's why I knew it so well, and that's why I got down the rabbit hole building computers and learning the Pro Tools software and shit like that. But I got more into just making the music that I just stopped giving a fuck. And then I let Zach get good at it, and I was like, yes, all right, cool, I can stop fucking with it.
That was the whole thing, is like, he started, and he like, I'm probably his biggest fan when it comes to the rapping shit. Like, when he was doing music, I'm like, well, how do I get to be a part of this? I have to learn to be the producer.
Yeah.
I need to be able to be there and just fucking record on hours on end with my bro. And I thought it was just as easy as getting a computer and shit.
Right.
And
record.
and
let's
hit
go,
record,
baby.
and it's all you got to do, right?
Yeah.
And he
all
knew.
shit that I definitely already know.
Yeah, he already knew, because like, I would say, he'd come record with me. He's like, figure it out, and once you get to that point, I'll come record with you. I was like, at first I'm like, ouch, because I didn't understand.
Yeah,
and then
you
as
know, I was
soon
like,
as
yeah,
I opened
I
up
was
Pro
like, yeah,
Tools
no,
and
yeah,
started
you-
looking at it, I was like, oh, well, hey, do you mind if I come to the studios when you go into the studios with you and
Look at
like
what they're
sit
doing.
over somebody's shoulder? And
Yeah.
he would bring me every time he'd go to the studio. He'd hit me up. He's like, I'm going to the studio. You want to come? And they fucking hate that.
Yeah,
They
like,
hate it. He's like, that's my bro. He's coming in. He's going to sit right over your shoulder and watch you. Just tell him
and
straight
he
out.
fucking did, too.
I sat right over dude's shoulder, and I'd learn from watching. And then I started figuring out how to learn shit on YouTube. And then just started recording anything and everything I could. Everybody and everything that I could. And I started getting pretty good at it. Not great, but pretty good. Like, I could make a pretty decent mix and album nowadays. I've gotten better in my old age, but I don't even work on it that much anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I still go into old projects and just play with them. Just refix them and then never do anything with them. All my shit's up online if you want to go and laugh at something. There's a bunch of old shit that's hilarious. I go back and listen to it every so often and go, I'm going to leave this up here for embarrassment to remind me. It's a reminder.
Well, as long as you're grinding it out, getting better. I mean, I've never like released, so to speak, a song.
No, but you've done it long, like not as long as I have, recording wise.
Which is terrible. You should
And
have
you
should release
already
everything.
have way better of
Yeah,
an
you're
ear for
talented.
mixing and composing and the whole mix of it. Like, you already
imagine-
have way better than I've
Even
ever
if
had.
you never, like, if no one listens to you for 200 years, And say
Eventually.
also in your family, no one in your blood lineage ever tries to pick up a guitar or anything like that. And then in 200 years, your great niece is like being made fun of because for whatever reason she likes playing the fucking guitar. And she's like, why does no one in my fucking family? And she has to go look in her history for why the fuck does she like the guitar so much? Then she finds you on the internet somewhere like, oh shit, I have a great uncle who made this dope ass fucking music and it's the exact same style of shit that I like or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I definitely my problem is that I always feel like I'm never done. Like
I hate that with art where you can never like be finished with it and say like this is the it.
Because like I really want I mean part of it is like a I don't know, a pride thing, I guess, but like I want what is represented, I guess, because for so long I thought that like music was going to be like my ultimate career. And I kind of had that, like, I don't want to call it a pipe dream. It was realistic. I think it was realistic if I would have like pressed myself and gave it a realistic shot. You know, but I more fell into like never putting anything out because it was always like, well, if it's not like totally perfect and sounds super professional, no one's going to take me seriously. And that just for years and years, I mean, it spurred me to get better and better at creating songs, and it spurred me to get better and better at recording and producing those songs. To a point where like I'm proud of what I can do with my set of instruments and my voice and stuff. But that being said, it's like I feel like I'm so close to releasing stuff that sounds like it was like professionally done, to the point where it's like, man, it's just the ever-present quest to feel like
perfection.
Things like if only this could be better, if only that could be better, or once I do this, once I have this piece of gear, like. But
see, I don't remember when I adopted this, but I was like, I don't want to be. Maybe it was just everybody I was around when like I was recording people, and every new rapper, their first thought was like, I need it to be perfect. It needs to be absolutely perfect. And I just got to the point where I'm like, well, perfection is a goal you will never achieve.
Yeah, you won't get there.
You're just never gonna achieve it. And so at some point I've almost overly adopted, and I'm trying to get my way back to more of like having a standard of how something looks, to where like I'm just like, it's good. It needs to be done and out. Like I'm now bored with it. It needs to be done and out. And so you lose less of that proudness of your shit, right? Like some of that pride of your stuff just kind of goes away. I'm trying to get that back. I'm trying to build that back by like doing more stuff and having more of a particular thing, and just going, all right, I'm gonna discard a bunch more shit. I just need to get rid of it. It's worthless at this point, and then start afresh. Kind of back what we were talking about at the beginning of this whole thing.
Yeah, put stuff out.
Starting fresh.
Start new
year.
Yeah.
Well, shit. What do we got for time?
48 minutes and 15 seconds.
Perfect. I like this session. This is a good session.
This is a great session.
Let me borrow that.
Oh, yeah. I feel like the audio's even doing really good for us. So.
Camera stayed on after that first little.
I've tapped it a couple of times. Yeah. And then we got the close up on your beautiful face there.
Blue steel.
Oh,
And black.
Because
Because you had to say something about it.
It was like, oh, all right. You want to play games? You want to call me out? Black screen.
And shit.
You gotta love it. We are here sipping on some Happy Apple. Nothing crazy, just a little 10 milligrams, a little something. It's just sparkling, you know. For
Start the year off right.
Yeah, sparkling something.
Nice.
Had some joints, some blunts. It's been a beautiful New Year's Day thus far.
Yeah.
I appreciate and love you guys.
Cheers.
Love you too.
Cheers.
You dudes. Oh yeah, I'll drink to that.
And if you guys didn't expect that to happen, you can rewind it back and cheers with us.
Yeah, man, let's get it this year.
Yeah, we plan on keeping the podcast thing going, keeping this thing moving. I got to start working on the Smoke Shed podcast a little bit more and putting that out more consistent. I plan on doing that. That's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Is that your solo show?
It's not really meant to be solo. I mean, I just do it solo because I don't really have. Every time I ask people to do podcasts, it's like, yeah, and then on the day of, it's like, nah. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be the year of putting stuff out for me. Like, people have seen me go ham with things before, but I've never gone ham in such a public way than what I plan to for this year, and not even in my personal circle. Now that I've gotten good at separating like identities and brand identities. Most people that know me don't know I have a YouTube channel. They have no idea. And my YouTube channel is growing pretty good. It's like, yeah, it's growing pretty fast.
And
actually.
those people all talk to each other, and they don't know any of the people that
they don't know. Yeah, they don't know anybody that actually knows me. They're not on my Facebook. They're literally just people of this community that I built. I guess most people know that I own a cleaning company, but in the circles of the business owners that I know of cleaning company, those people are completely separate. They don't know I have a YouTube channel. They don't even know I have a personal Facebook. I'm sure they assume it, but they are only associated with my company or what have you. And Nine Media is starting to bleed that, but I'm thinking about kind of just going quiet on the personal side and I'm going to have a bunch of content for Nine Media that also is separate from all my other brands. I haven't decided how much I want to separate it or how much I want it to bleed, because it is kind of all encompassing. It's media for all the other businesses that I do,
which includes the cleaning company.
Yeah, with everything. It includes everything. So it's kind of hard to say I'm going to separate it.
Right.
But all in all, this is going to be the year for me putting out a metric shit ton of content.
Nice.
Yeah, that's definitely a plan of mine this year. Is like, I plan on trying to get more client content built up and put out, and getting that, building more clients to do that with, and getting real good, and then trying to hopefully build a team. We've been looking at some applicants and people to source out.
Yeah, once we have a basic team solidified, and we are able to ramp up, it's gonna get crazy. It'll get crazy.
And I've been learning all of the things that I'm gonna have all these people do. So
I know without realizing it, we're gonna be releasing probably once the team is set and we are able to the structure that we built. Once we're able to put all of the companies into that structure, we'll easily be at releasing 100 pieces of content a day.
Yeah.
But throughout all the brands, throughout all of the brands that we manage, in different companies and clients and stuff like that, easily on the low side, it'll be about 100 pieces of content a day.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck with that.
Yeah, so that's what I say. We're going to put out a metric shit ton of content. It's going to be, it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be great. And I've been learning all the back ends of all those things and all of those programs. And I just like to know the stuff if I'm going to have somebody doing it, so I know when I'm being bullshit.
Yeah, you got to be dangerous enough to not be fucked with. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And I'm I'm willing to pay people proper for proper work, but I need to know what proper work is.
You got to know that they know their shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And that you also have to have, especially with people you're going to be working with and directing,
because you got to be able to guide them in their language,
Yeah, exactly. Guide them in their language.
That's the whole other thing, is the language. It's that's a big part of it. It's I didn't know a lot of the little quips, I guess.
Terminology.
Yeah, because for a while people I was overpaying for SEO and paying $1,700 a month for people to do H1s because it sounded fucking
insane.
It sounded insane to me. I'm I don't fucking know. All right, it sounds expensive. Go ahead. Here's some money. Take care of it for me. And then I start studying, and then then I know what meta descriptions and titles and H1s and tags and
it's
using Search Console and analytics and stuff like that. having to pay out the money and that hurting made me go and look into it. So now I know how to hire around it.
Really
well, that's
knows,
like the exact same thing as needing to get your car fixed.
Exactly.
You know, once you, especially when you realize, like, oh yeah, they say it's gonna be like $2,300.
Yeah, you look at him like, no, the fuck, it's not. No.
Starter, and it's like, bitch, that's $400.
Yeah, max. Yeah. Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
No.
And my grandpa's even got a fucking little discount because he's got a business.
I like to be. I feel like it's a win. It's a life win that at this point, like, if I need an oil change, I'll just go to the fucking drive-through oil change spot. Like, yeah, I can go buy the quarts of oil. I can go take it home, pull the oil can off, or the oil filter off. Like, I can do a whole tune-up, but it's like, shit, dude, for $70 at Oil Can Henry's or whatever, they'll do all that shit.
They'll do all that shit. Yeah, exactly. But now you're not going to go pay $240 for it to get done, though. So, you know, because you know. Yeah.
And that makes sense. That's like some people wonder why I would like to get, like, why you would buy Grubhub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Convenience.
Convenience.
Why are you paying the extra? Well, because I don't want to get my fucking ass in my car and then
pay someone else $12 to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm in
That's
the middle
about
of
the
something, they will
markup.
drop that shit off right next. They'll bring it to my hands.
Yeah.
I don't have to go anywhere.
Literally,
It's worth that extra to do that. Now, is it always worth it? No. Sometimes it's just economically not feasible. But I've had people ask, why would you order fucking... Because I'm fucking lazy. I don't want to get in the goddamn car. It's cold outside.
I smoked a lot of weed. It would be
Right,
reckless and dangerous.
It'd be irresponsible.
I'm going to do the responsible thing, and I'm going to go ahead and order it.
God, that's so
I'm
much
gonna have
smarter.
Some other person who's high drive it to my house.
Yeah. That's so much smarter. Like, that should be my answer every single time. Especially the person that asks.
Yeah.
Because it would shut them up immediately. It'd be like, that would
Just
be...
thinking about public safety.
Oh, man.
You know?
Yeah. I don't drive high. I swear. If there are any law enforcement listening, never happens. I don't
And
have...
that's the point. You let the Grubhub guy do it.
Facts. Facts. And I pray that they're on cocaine so they're alert.
Or at least to get there quicker.
Yeah. So I'm paying less, actually. I only tip per the mile. If I order a mile away and it takes you 1 minute and you didn't like have to do UEs, I'm not gonna give you more than $1.
See what I hate about those, and I order a lot of those when I'm like out on the road for work, staying at a hotel. But like, I hate that you have to tip them before they
they do their
because
job.
it's like I will over tip them. Like, I'll tip, you know, if it costs like $25 for whatever it is to get, you know, I'll make it like 35, tip them like $10, and it's like, hey man, get me my shit, get it here fast, and like that's
Make sure
kinda,
it's
that's
piping
the whole
hot.
point of me
That's tipping you well. Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
like, it takes them way longer, and then they text me and
like,
they
well, I
call me
would've
and they're
tipped you
hey,
less,
I couldn't
yeah.
find your room. I'm down at the lobby. Like, I didn't fucking order it to the lobby.
Yeah,
I ordered it to
the
my
fuck,
room.
yeah.
And there's clear instructions right there on the app that tell you
Straight up.
second floor, the only third-story building, or the only three-story building in the parking lot. Right? There's only one of them. I'm on the second floor, the first door to the left of the stairs. Whatever it is, like super
whatever,
specific
yeah.
instructions.
Dude, I can barely remember what you said and I can find it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, like, I'm walking up the stairs right now,
Oh my
first door to
God.
the left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, and you can't go back and change your tip.
Yeah,
you can
like,
report,
yeah.
You can report a
Yeah,
negative
like,
review
come
or
on,
whatever,
man.
but, like,
And to get your whole money back.
dude, yeah,
I just say they spit in my food.
it's fucked. It's fucked. You have a lot of people. I was ordering it like constantly, like almost every day for a while. And
Oh,
there's- You definitely, unfortunately, more often than not, I was disappointed.
Oh, dude, what I hate. So what I do is I put $0 tip, or like $3, right? No more than that, and then they earn the tip, depending on how the quality my food is when it gets there, whether it's fucking cold as a rock, whether my fucking milkshake is melted, you know, and then I throw a little extra on because you can add a tip. You can add more to
Yeah,
your
yeah.
tip.
See, maybe I guess I don't use Grubhub. I would use like DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Yeah, on
Uber
play. It
Eats,
depends
though,
on the
you can add a
platform.
tip on
Yeah,
Uber Eats. That's usually what I use.
on Uber Eats you can. Yeah.
Yeah, you can add the tip later. So you just You can go back into the profile and add tip.
Yeah.
Well, what I
Tip
ended
them
up
later.
doing was just ordering from California Pizza Kitchen every day.
That's smart.
Directly.
Right.
Calling up
Calling
the
good.
restaurant and they send the delivery guy out. It's
See, that's-
way better.
That's way smarter.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what-
I'm really-
like I've always thought like, wouldn't it be sick if these delivery companies, if you could like favorite one of these people, and then you end up having a network of people that you've had a positive experience with, and those delivery requests are routed to those drivers more often.
Does that not happen?
I mean, I don't know, but like
Maybe it's just area and how many are in the area. Because at my house, there was like 3 people that would bring the food, and depending on what place I ordered from, I could tell you who was coming.
Yeah.
It was either a chick or this other
like,
guy.
I know.
And the one guy pissed off
I'm
'cause,
familiar
I
with
took
these
his
people.
kid.
Yeah.
I'm very like. It depends on where I'm at with tipping, like where the location that I'm in. Like here in Seattle, I'm very, very particular. Like you definitely have to earn your tip, but I tip well. I tip really well. But when I travel, I typically travel to like poorer places, or I guess places in worse economies than a Seattle, like a Hawaii or a fucking New Orleans, like like it's
where
shit's falling apart exactly before exactly. And I go and I'm in these nice areas, so like when I'm traveling and I'm in places like that, I beyond over tip because I feel bad because I know the reality of the situation is I'm some business owner from Seattle, like, and I'm some in town just enjoy my fucking self. So I over tip. Like valets get like $100 a night from me. Like when we're out. Like you've seen me. Yeah, you've seen me. Like I'll tip $100 every time I ask for my car. Like whether I'm leaving, coming, or going, it'll cost me $500 a day just to go and come out or whatever.
Trips.
Hit a couple trips of in and out of the fucking hotel.
Like I would beg to walk because I'm like, nah. We could just walk.
Yeah, because I over tip in those situations. But back here, where everyone's like, this is fucking Seattle. I'm like, you should, earn it. Like I'll over tip you, but
and they
earn it.
Treat you with the kind of respect, like the way that you got
exactly
like, the people that they would be the same valets, and they would fucking like we asked them to do some weird shit.
We always
help
did,
carry our fucking roof up a goddamn
vertical
vertical shaft, basically
up the windy ass fucking thing.
Oh my god, dude! I was dying by the time we were done. It was 3 of us,
I can't believe
he's
we
got
had the
one in
fucking
by himself. He's just
valet
like,
doing weird shit.
Dude, and they were happy.
But yeah, it
every
makes it
time they
worth
see
it.
him, he's like, "Fuck yeah, this is." I just made my week's fucking wage basically in a night. You want your car back? Like, you want me to back it up? You want to?
They don't give a shit.
You want
you
want me to clean it out for you? We can help carry your bags in.
I always thought like how cool would it be to have like a Uber Eats style or whatever Grubhub style, but it's a private network of like legit like butler ass dudes.
That'd be fucking
men
sick.
And women like in suits and shit.
Right.
Like nice cars.
Yeah.
And that's their job.
Like they hop out the back of the limo with the food.
Whether it's like, yo, you need a Uber, you need me to take you anywhere, I got you. You need me to go get you something, I got you. And like you have a certain proximity and you have a certain number of people, and that small network is like, hey, we can guarantee that this one driver can fulfill your need within like 20 minutes max of.
I feel like that's what the star rating was supposed to be, and like the things that like for Uber, because people used to do that to get higher star ratings because it was so difficult.
We got
to
super
get
generous
stars.
with the stars.
And people would like dudes would have in New York when they would pick you up in a Uber, they would have like screens in the back of their seats. They'd have a fucking luxury warm heating. They'd
earning
have
that
wine
fifth
and shit
star
waiting for you like. They earned that fucking.
I guess you got to kind of put that on the consumer. Like, what's really 5-star service? Like, why are you? Maybe more people should get 4 stars and save that 5th star for people who are really going all the way.
That's why I'm a hard tipper. I'm really like I try to.
Because you've seen people do the utmost of service
exactly, and for nothing. Yeah, like they're doing it not expecting a tip, right? Yeah. And they just have a good day.
Yeah, because I'm not someone who looks like I would tip. Like, I would even tip. Like, they always think that black people don't fucking tip, but I tip the most. Yeah.
Look at me.
Is that like something?
No, dude,
that's definitely it's a stereotype. Yeah, people know it's like, oh, yeah.
I've definitely seen it.
So when I see someone go above and beyond for me, Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, dope. This is gonna be dope when they see that I actually am a good fucking tipper. Yeah.
And like, I look like grungy shit. I look like straight up Seattle. I look like Nirvana.
Yeah.
I look like everything in it.
You just
fucking just grungy.
You usually smell
And
like a pound too.
Yeah, exactly. And cigarettes. So most people are like, "There's no way this fucking dude's tipping shit." So if they give me great service, I'm gonna fucking give them what I got. Like, I will give you everything left that I got because you just showed me respect. The respect factor is a big thing. And if you're a shitty fucking waitress or you're shitty whatever, you don't just deserve tips. That's not the point. That's not the point of a tip. It's for outstanding and excellent service. I need to feel like I was the only person in the room.
Yeah. But the whole problem with the tipping concept, at least like when it's in the context of a restaurant, is the fact that like
that's how they make most of their money.
Exactly, because the restaurants aren't required to pay them anything more than like $2.
I agree.
So unfortunately, they are left up to like it comes down to like the root of it is everyone's different. I mean, like a 5-star Uber for me is like don't say a word to me. I'll be back here on my phone. Like I'm not here to talk. We're not gonna become friends on the like, it's fucking 4:30 in the morning. I just woke up.
I just want to get where I'm going.
All my shit in the back. Like this is already annoying that I have to like
do this at all. Right now.
Please just I'm gonna fall asleep if possible.
I'm gonna fall asleep if possible.
But like some people, like they just want to talk your ear off. And like, oh, where are you going? Oh, where are you from?
Agreed.
Oh, what's this? What's that?
Here would be my counter to that. Is everybody can almost agree on what luxury is, right? Like when you're in luxury, you know it.
Yeah,
right? And luxury is the tip. That's the 5th star. That's like, if you aren't giving me that feeling of luxury, then you don't deserve that extra. You deserve the 15%.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you the 15%, which
like
is
you're
like
not just gonna go zeros on the tip. But
no,
you're saying, like,
but you're not.
Yeah, the above and
it shows what your tip is gonna show what your effort was, and you're gonna know it.
He said, dealing with me.
People should get in the habit of like just as a concept, like let's say you experience maybe poor service, or it's not like the utmost excellent service. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. To me, like no tip is 15%.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, there's a bare minimum.
Like, I don't want to be an asshole and make you like.
Yeah, we're not trying to hurt your livelihood. Yeah, it's not trying to attack your livelihood, but I'm not about to make things easier for you if you didn't make anything easier for me.
Or something like, we might have a different story.
Yeah.
But like, if you're just, I get it. If you're just out there doing your job, if you're like a total dick and are like, there's certain situations. Of course, but like, it just like, it sucks that the onus is put on the customer to supply the income of their employees. That's the fucked up part.
It is the fucked up part.
Unfortunately, that is the reality, and so it's like, damn. Well, I kind of hate the concept, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do. It's part of the cost of eating at the restaurant.
And it's part of the cost of being a waitress is to give outstanding service if you want to get a big tip.
Bro,
it's unfortunate.
Weird story behind a $500 tip that I gave somebody. Like, I went to Vegas, right? And I flew a bunch of people to Vegas. It was my first stroke of having money.
I feel like I remember this story.
It was my first stroke of having money, so I fly a bunch of people to Vegas. My cousin comes in from Portland and shit or whatever, right? My cousin rents this.
And he means a bunch of people.
Immaculate convertible Mustang, right? First night, he is beyond drunk. Plastered. He's drunk, off Molly. He's geeked. And my cousin is a swole dude. Like, he's not small. He's an obvious I work out type body, like
a football player.
Yeah.
Fit looks like he can tackle you and it's going to
break you. Like, he's a big dude. So you don't want to tell him no sober, much less aggressive and yacked out and completely drunk out of his mind.
Like, stop it.
And so I leave him with my little cousin, like our little cousin, who's trying to control him, and he ends up in the parking lot in this car, in this nice ass rented convertible Mustang, and wilding out in the car, trying to drift around the shit like he thinks he's in fucking Tokyo or some shit. You know, like,
like fucking
ends up crashing into a parked car. Oh god! Into a parked Benz, no less. Benz. It was like a C63. It was something crazy. It's Vegas. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing but extravagant fucking cars. And so, and there's a parking garage attendant that's watching this whole shit. Like, and so my little cousin calls me from the parking lot and he's like, "Hey, you need to get here. Shelby's wildin'. He won't give me the keys to the car. He just crashed into a parked car." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And I'm like, "Why did you let him have the keys?" He's like, "I wasn't fucking telling him no. Like you do think I was gonna stop him?"
Like, I was like, insides on the inside.
I was like, "Touche. I'll be there in a minute." And he was out, and by the time I get there, he was like, "Oh." He was like, I had to get out of there. Shelby like started to pass out, so I put him in the back of the car, and I just left the garage, and like they were parked on the side of the hotel. And I was like, he was like, I tipped the garage dude to not say anything. I was like, how much did you tip him? He was like, I gave him $20, and I was like,
not enough.
You hit a Mercedes Benz with a convertible Mustang in this man's parking lot, and then left the scene. And you gave him $20 to be quiet, and you think that if anyone questions him about this from any law enforcement, that your $20 is gonna make him think twice about snitching you the fuck out? I was like, are you fucking high? And so I had to go back and talk to this man. I was like, hey, yo, you didn't see anything happen, with any car or anything earlier, right? And he was like, And then I showed him the $500, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I didn't see shit, man. I didn't see nothing." And so then I gave it to him. I was like, "All right, that's better."
All right, as long as we agreed.
Because I didn't tell him who I was, so he probably assumed I was the Benz owner, looking for his car. And so I wanted to see if he would hesitate off the $20, and he definitely did.
He's like waiting for that's my car that got hit.
Exactly. Like,
what'd you see, motherfucker?
Yeah, what'd you see? He's like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, he sees them. He's like, I definitely didn't see shit.
$20 isn't enough to go against an angry guy and be like, oh, I didn't see shit.
Yeah, exactly. But the 500 may make you think. It's not even like a guarantee, but it may make you think.
It definitely makes you think, like, yeah, no, I definitely didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it.
Dude, I was taking a pit. Like, what? You can't blame me for having to take a pit.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
you went to the movie scenes is in Anchorman when Will Ferrell, when Ron Burgundy says, "Go fuck yourself, San Diego," on the air, because someone puts it on the teleprompter to fuck with him, and then one of the producers afterwards is like crying and like weeping, and he's like, he's so upset, and he's like, "How could you do that, Ron, with your poop mouth?" and he's like, would a little money from my wallet help ease the pain?
Would a little money from my wallet help?
Like starts taking out cash and shit. So like, dude, that's always busting me up.
Man,
a little money from my wallet help ease the pain.
Right.
Man,
this guy's like in emotional distress.
Right.
See, that's when I'm going, fuck. I only had $20. I'm gonna keep the $20. This guy has to die.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I would have rather you have threatened him. Yeah, I would have rather you have threatened him than give him $20.
You realize you live in it.
Yeah, the threat would have been more effective. I was like, you're too gangster looking. Yeah, $20, you're fucked. Yeah, you just down $20 now. I was like, yeah,
I'm gonna need that for gas.
Yeah, I would have rather you
out into the desert.
I would have rather you flashed a pistol at him or something, and then
today the day.
Yeah.
No. Cool. Thought so.
Right, you could have went. You didn't see anything, right? All right, cool.
Well, we've gone from New Year's resolutions to murder.
How to get
right? Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's sometimes you just have to. I mean, when you're poor, that's just the way that it goes. Like,
that's the way she goes.
That's just the way. That
shaping up to be a good year, man. I'm excited for it with you guys, man.
Let's do it. Everybody, let's the listeners as well. Have a great year. It starts with at least. I mean,
yeah.
Leave your resolutions down in the comments below.
For sure.
Make sure
they're at our feet.
Yeah, right down there at our feet.
That's a new one.
Oh man.
That's
I'm gonna make a shirt that implies like basically suck my dick, but it's gonna say leave comments like below. You know?
All right, well, shit.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. We're gonna wrap it up for the day, but we will be back as always here at the AZ Squared Equals podcast.
Yeah. See, look, he had to look it up.
Podcast is called.
Oh,
I cut
love
cameras.
it.
It didn't show you too
right.
much looking at it. So I didn't eyeballs.
Don't cut that out.
We cut it in post. We cut it in post. We won't cut it in post. Y'all take it easy. Peace.